Welcome to the Service to Syndication Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world who have worn the uniform of this great country, those who provide services to our men and women in uniform, and other service-oriented professionals to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer your dreams and goals in real estate and to use this wealth creation vehicle so you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of generosity and prosperity. If what you desire is time, lifestyle, and financial freedom, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, the knowledge, experience, skills, so you can go out and crush it in whatever real estate asset class you desire. So grab a pencil and paper, sit back, and enjoy the ride on the Service to Syndication Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, where we interview the most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world, where most have donned the uniform of this great country. We aim to provide the tool sets, mindsets, and skill sets for you to achieve your personal and business goals while using real estate as a wealth creation vehicle to help you live a more successful, happy, and fun-filled life. I am super excited today to have Mr. Wesley Yates. He is a successful self-storage investor. But before I properly introduce our exciting guest to you, I just want to ask you a favor, as always. Please, if you get some value out of this interview, if you get some type of mindset shift, learn a new skill, new information, receive inspiration or motivation to go out and take some action to make some progress in your life, please share this episode with some friends. Send it to someone you know who might be or could be interested in real estate. Share it on your social media, post it on your wall, or share it in your stories. Help us spread our message while you help others. For all of you who share this episode, I want to say thank you. Okay, so again, everyone, we have Mr. Wesley Yates. Wesley is a commercial real estate syndicator who specializes in acquiring multifamily and self-storage assets. He started in 2019 and has had a wide range of experience from commercial real estate to financial services industry. Prior to starting his real estate career, Wesley served as an active duty Marine for 9 years. During this time in the service, he mentored and trained over 2,000 individuals for leadership and development roles. He was recognized in 2013 by Congressman Ralph Hall for his outstanding character and service to his community. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in finance from the University of Texas at Tyler. Wesley's goal is to reach $1 billion worth of assets under management by creating mutually beneficial relationships that provide opportunities for growth. Welcome again, Wesley.
Thank you. Thank you, Cedric. I appreciate it.
Yes. So the first thing that I like to do with my guests is I ask them to walk us through their real estate journey in 75 seconds or less.
Oh, okay. So recapping the last 4 years, fell, learn, get up and keep moving forward. There you go. I hope that works.
That works. You know, you failed a lot of times, but you learned. And that's the key to this business that we're all in and life in general. If you fail at something, you didn't really fail, you didn't maybe not succeed it that time, but you gained some experience out of it.
Mhm.
And next, you won't make that, or you shouldn't make that mistake again. So anyway, Wesley, what markets are you currently investing in?
Um, we're pretty much nationwide right now, and we're trying to get granularly focused on self-storage, particularly starting with development. Hard times for development, but we've got a strong team. That's our strong suits, I would say. So we're really focusing where our strengths are, just kind of really pressuring, really pressing forward, even though the market and everything else is really getting rough due to the financial crashes that everything's, it's just the world's coming to a chaos a point, right? But we're just keeping our head down, pulling in the right partnerships, and just focusing on each day's goal and just inching our way forward. I think success is measured by each step. So, and then when you look back at the end of the day, you go, okay, cool. Yeah, I took a few back, took a few more forward, and it almost looks like a funky dance if you would track your footsteps in the sand. But that's how winning's done.
Absolutely. So, just help out our listeners a little bit with self storage. Now, there are different, I'm assuming, classes of self storage or different types. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Absolutely. So, of course, you got your class A, B, C. Just basically, you think of it as like your grade. I like to think of it as more like the condition of the overall. And we'll work on anywhere from a multi-story facility. You might drive down the road and see a public storage or Extra Space or CubeSmart. Those are the big three REITs right now. And see, a multi-story facility predominantly being climate controlled. You've got those, and you've got some that are single stories that are just considered your drive ups. You can have some that are just single story climate controlled, and then you'll have your what you traditionally think of when you think self storage, which is a good old garage door with a bunch of them side by side, non climate. But we've also got RV and boat storage, right, where you need a place to park your toys, as we say, and then you've also got conversions happening a lot. Conversions is you'll take these old Kmart's, these old grocery stores. I've seen old hospitals. I've seen just about anything that has enough square footage going in and being converted to storage now as well. So those are becoming very popular. So really storage is a wide range of different strategies where you're just buying something to stabilize it as a value add, more of a management value add. You're buying something that has open acreage or room to, there's more demand in the market. Maybe you'll knock down two of your buildings and go vertical, right? Adding more self-storage, and that's your value add play. You can do the conversions as we mentioned, and then you can just do your good old ground up development, or you're buying something and just a long-term strategy of, cash flow and run it and stable, keep it stabilized, keep it cash flowing. And yeah, so that's what I love about the different types of, I guess you could say, classes and strategies. And, there's like niches of this asset class as well. So it kind of goes far and wide as long as you understand the purpose of self-storage and the strategies for each market, each location across the country. And it's at the end of the day, it's really about supply and demand. So
Okay. Yeah, that's new to me. Again, I'm in the multifamily space, but the conversions of, like you said, the old Kmart's and all old hospitals and things like that. That's wow, that's pretty unique.
It's pretty neat how they'll do that, though. I mean, because you're basically just using that old facility. I've seen them on malls too. Like an old Macy's store. It's just a big open shell. So what do? They go in there and they build the floors. So you already got your shells. You're just building storage basically inside of it. So it's pretty neat how they can do that.
Wow. Okay. So, what areas are you investing in? Like B class areas, C class areas, D class areas?
So right now, our main progress, I would say, has been in ground up development. So building Class A large facilities. We've got 3 developments going on right now across the country. All of them are above 100,000 square feet. So kind of went straight into it, went big. Is that saying, go big or go home? So I go big from home. That's how I do it, right? But yeah, so looking at certain strategies depending on size, depending on market, I would say the reason why we like to go a little bigger across the country is we can really support the uh, the demand there with a good third party management company to help us with the day in day out operations. So with us wanting to build a large portfolio, you can imagine the being on site managing these, even remote. But if you're doing a ground up development, it's highly encouraged to have an on site team during that lease up period. So, but storage, there's a lot of ways now where you can run these things completely remote. I know some storage owners that have never even set foot on some of their sites. It's pretty remarkable with the technology today. The no key, and I've heard they got like video kiosks that you can go up to a screen and just type it in, and a rep comes in from their office somewhere else remotely located, and then they're like, yes, would you like to, and then they help them right there at that. So I'm like, it's just getting very interesting, and at the course very efficient. So, but yeah, so yeah, we'll go just about any market, but the numbers have to make sense. We've all heard that if you've been in real estate at least a month, you've heard you make your money on your buy. Well, that's even more true in development. So you really have got to make sure you're being very picky. Your criteria is dialed in, and you don't falter from it. You can't. When you start doing that, that's when you start losing money. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I didn't want to just be in one market. And I saw that a lot from my multifamily days. People that said, I got to find something here.
Mhm.
Well, then, they're like, all right, they weren't finding a good deal that met their metrics. So what did they do? Instead of broadening their horizons, some did do that, but some of them lowered their standards. And I'm sure anyone in the military background, lowering your standards is just, no, it makes your skin crawl. No, not doing that. So we'll conquer more ground. So let's go. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we're focusing at right now.
Okay. So because you're mainly in development, no, I'm sorry, let me back up. Did you start out straight from the door in development, or did you go through the, like you said, the ones with the garage doors? Did you start out there to kind of get your feet wet?
I tried at that to get my feet wet. I had a project that was only going to be about 12. It was under 15,000 square feet of rentable space, and it was all non-climate. And then we were going to try to double that. I think we were going to hit somewhere around 35,000 square feet on the exit. And I ended up getting connected through one of my team members, Anthony, to Mr. Barry Sherman with S3. And he's like, this is usually not the size that we go after. We are usually bigger, kind of that military thing. He wanted to, help us out, saw a little bit of our capabilities and potential. And then the more he started working with us on that project, the more we started discussing what would, reaching that potential, what would that look like? What would be the strategy to reach that and exceed beyond? And we ended up not even closing that project, but we loved the market so well. While my team was out there, we found a piece of land, and that ended up being one of our projects we're working on now. It's a 3-story facility that we're going to be doing there. What's going to be, I think, 78,000 net rentable square feet, about 104,000 gross. So we kind of, with his help, we went from, okay, we'll just jump straight to the big stuff. So yes, I am, but I had a good bit of, I had about 70, I still have about 70 million of a portfolio multifamily. So I kind of already understood taking down big. I think the largest asset we've taken down to date, my background has been about a little over $30 million single purchase. So, with self-storage, you're talking about 100,000 square foot facility, and it's still under 15 million. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. So, and it came with a lot of plans. I don't do anything just shooting from the hip. I kind of say I like to take the sniper approach. I want to hit what I'm aiming for. I don't just do the machine gunner where I'm just spraying and praying. The servicemen will get that joke there, or that analogy. But we sat down. He flew in. He's like, "Where are you at?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm over here in Dallas, Texas. I'm actually on the Fort Worth side." And he goes, "Okay." So we flew in, we sat down at a restaurant, and I just had the table full of, papers and napkins and, just laying all out. We were there for about 4.5 hours. And he saw it. He saw the vision, he saw the strategy, he saw how we could start from here and scale up very quickly. And he said, I want a partner. And it was nice to go from very quickly from one deal just as a vendor to jumping into, like, within 3 months, we had 3 deals under contract, all of them over. So we scaled up very quickly. So it was like that. There's that proof right there. So, and he didn't feel like he was carrying the weight by any means. I told him that. I said, if you see anywhere where my team is dropping the ball or not carrying our part of it, please let me know and I'll address it. And he just kind of laughed and said, "No, you're solid." Like, so, the teams there were both, very evenly balanced and very focused on their strengths. And I think that's something I brought in from my leadership of the Marines. You've got to know your troops and where they best lie. You got to do that. So you don't have someone that's an analytical person on the phones trying to sell, right? You gotta do that. But and that's really what we did. So I just built a team specific around if we wanted to do anything in self-storage.
Okay.
And so there's we've got 2 capital relations managing directors. We've got my my project manager and my operations manager. I've got an admin manager, and then I've also got my analyst and my acquisitions manager. And that leaves me, I like to say, the dumbest one at the table. But and then we've got Barry and his team kind of helping with the taking the lead with the development aspect of it. So, some people say they like to do it by themselves. And if they say, what's that old saying? If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with a team.
That's right.
I put one more touch on. I said, I've built a lot of teams in my day. I know if you got the right team, you can do both. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what efficiency is: quality and quantity.
There
So
you go.
that's kind of where we like to target.
Okay. So how are you finding these deals? The
Yeah.
land deals.
Yeah. Honestly, it's, the one we found there, we already did a feasibility study, which kind of took the total demand, the total supply, based on, price per square foot, demand per square foot per capita, sorry, demand of square foot per capita. And we were like, man, this 35,000 is just not even scratching the demand of, it was like 176,000 square feet of demand. And I'm like, we got to figure out a way. So we just started looking in that market. We liked the market passed our criteria. So then it was just finding the piece of land in that. And that's kind of what we've done. Of course, we've worked with brokers, we've worked with wholesalers, we've worked with, just word of mouth people that are, hey, I've got this land and I don't know what to do with it. I've been thinking about self-storage. So I think that's really a lot of our strategy. I don't have like one special way. I hate to say that. I guess if I could say how, in one key skill set, is putting what I'm looking for and putting how I want to do it out there into the world and saying, I'm willing to partner, whether it's partnering with the landowner and and saying, hey, your land's worth $1 million raw. If I build this building on it, it's going to be worth 20 million. How about I just roll this in there and, triple the value, more than triple the value of your land, but, and then give you equity based on that. And so I try to create opportunities that are truly win-win, win-win benefits. So that's really what I look for, is people that are wanting to do what I'm doing, our goals align, our morals align. And, I have my strengths, they have their strengths, and we come together to truly create that synergy and that cohesiveness to get the job done, to where at the end of the day, we all get to walk away with a little bit more pocket change, So that's really it.
Nice. So let's transition a little bit to your most recent acquisition. Was that through syndication, joint venture, or how do you structure your deals?
Yeah, I've done so. I try to break my stuff up on these developments in two phases. One is the land development phase, where we're just buying the raw land, and our goal is to get that piece of land shovel ready, and then we'll sell. Usually, we're selling to phase two, which is a new team, and coming in on that phase is there to build it and exit it. Basically, build it, get the lights on, get it operational, not even worrying about stabilization, selling it usually to a good PE group or someone that wants to buy it, pre-stabilized, because that's their value. I've done this through joint venture partnerships where I've got, 5 to 10 just investors that are wanting to be active. They don't want to just be limited partners, and we've got enough to take down something together and, structuring it that way. More commonly, I've done syndications under Reg D, 506B and 506C. Understanding those compliances are very important. I use my SEC attorney to look over everything, and he tells me, all right, Wes, you're getting risky here. All right, Wes, you're mitigating it there. Be careful here, be careful there. So he's the one that pulls on the reins every once in a while. Make sure that I stay 100% within compliance, and getting creative on how can we push the maximum returns but still being as safe as we can be, structuring everything legally and being everything where the investors are secure, but at the same time, if someone comes on site and stubs their toe and tries to sue us, we've got plenty of protection there too. So we're always cautious of what is the best strategy and for each type of capital stack, type of project, and really what is the end goal.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Service to Syndication Podcast. If you are a military service man or woman, government employee, or any other service-related professional, this is for you. I once was where you are. As a service member, I lived paycheck to paycheck. As a government employee, I knew there was more out there for me. I tried all the get-rich-quick schemes. None of them worked. Then a friend of mine introduced me to real estate investing. I am a commercial multifamily syndicator who helps those who have served in the military and those who provide services to our men and women in uniform and other service-oriented professionals achieve their time, lifestyle, and financial freedom by investing passively into multifamily real estate. If you know that this life has more in store for you, I invite you to tune into the Service to Syndication Podcast to learn the tools, tricks, and concepts to help you achieve the time, lifestyle, and financial freedom that comes with investing in real estate. So go over to cobbscreekcapital.us. That is COBBSCREEKCAPITAL.US and schedule a call so that we can get to know one another and see how we can work together to help you achieve your goals.
I'd say the longer the hold time, the more I'm going to want to put in the operating agreement of specifics and who's responsible for what. But yeah, I'd say get with someone that can explain the benefits, both tax wise, compliance wise, risk wise, on whether you want to do a JV and what that looks like. I would say your smaller projects, that might be a better way where you really know your partners. And then, a syndication wise, where, you're kind of opening it up to investors that may be the first time they're investing with you or the first time that they're investing, period. And they're really, relying on your expertise. I'd probably lean more towards that. We also are looking at in the next year, probably going to create a fund where our investors, I kind of like it as like, all right, if you know the stock market, you're going to probably just buy the stocks you want. Right? If you don't know the stock market, you're probably going to buy ETFs or a mutual fund, right? So the fund would be that, all right, if you don't know how to read pro formas and sources and uses and market studies and all of that, then it might be better for you to just throw your money into a fund, trust that team, analyze that team, look at their background, and put your money there. So we try to make it to where there's an opportunity just about whether you're doing a 1031, cash, IRAs, solo 401ks, QRPs, just about any way that you can think of to invest. We try to make it where we can work with them and have someone that has that experience in helping those types of investors. So that's probably where I would say I do actually bring some strengths to the table, is understanding the SEC compliance, understanding the legalities of everything, and being able to take the time to sit down with an investor that might just need that extra, I don't want to say hand holding is demeaning, but that extra education and extra laying out of what exactly does certain line items mean. So that's something I like to make sure. I'm not a salesman. I like to think of it as more as I'm working with sophisticated people. If I educate them and I give them the facts and I give them the information that I'm looking at, they're going to make that decision on whether this is a good opportunity for them or not.
Okay. So let's so you mentioned hold time. What's your typical hold time for these type of assets?
Well, doing my developments, I looked at the two biggest value add, I would say milestones, is the second you get that building completed. So just to give you some rough numbers, it's going to cost us with interest reserves. I always raise my interest reserves, which is the debt payments, your mortgage payments for that time period of my holding time. So with my interest reserves, let's just say I'm about 13 million. All right. When based on an appraisal value, that building at completion will be worth a little over 17, about 17 and a half. So there's $4.5 million of value that I created. Now I'm going to be putting about, I think it's going to be about six. No, it's a little shy of 6 million. So, I'm giving a good rate of return right there. Now, the appraisal says if I stabilize that asset, it's worth 20 million, a little over 20. So it was equivalent to about another 3 million is what it came out to be. So it's like, all right, I can increase the evaluation of this property in that first year of building it by, I can get that good return. It's about a 50% to the investors based on the splits, but I'm increasing my valuation by 4 million in 1 year, and I can hold on to it and lease it up. Let's just say average lease up is 3 years to get another 3 million. So I look at, all right, getting in, getting out, getting my investors paid, keeping them happy, and then rolling into the next deal. Now, if it is just a strong cash flowing market and we just timed that asset perfectly, got the right capital, and looking at your interest rates are key to going, should I hold it or should I not? If we are deciding to hold it, we'll do a 4-year hold time, stabilize it, then exit, right? So you got this milestone of about 2 years to build, get the lights on, exit, or you can do 4 years, build it, stabilize it, exit, or you can do a 6 to 10 year hold where you build it, stabilize it, cash out, refi, hold it, and cash flow. So I kind of try to hit all three of those, plus the land development. I try to keep that development under a year. So I got what are you safe with? What are you comfortable with? What are you looking for? And then if you don't know, go into the fund, and that fund's investing into all stages.
Got it.
I try to break it up. It is very complicated, but I've got the right team, the right softwares, the right programs to really be able to manage that. Mm-hmm. I would say if you're just getting started out, pick one, master that, become a perfectionist, if you will, into that one strategy, that one hold time, build up your investors' support and rapport with them and trust with them, and then expand into, doing more. So it's all about, at the end of the day, what are your investors looking for?
Okay.
So if they're only looking for one strategy and you're bringing them others, you're not going to be able to raise for those. So that would be, I would say, spend some time doing a market study and what is the demand looking for in the market of storage? Okay, that's important. But you got to do the same thing on the other side of the table, which is your investors. Spend some time talking, what are you looking for? Are you looking for cash flow right now? Oh, you're looking for an equity multiplier right now? Oh, you're just looking for a tax write-off right now? Figure out what the pool of your investors that are attracted to your story, your agenda, your strategy, and let them tell you what you should go after. Or if you're set on my strengths can only do one, then you're going to have to spend more time finding the investors that are also looking for that. So it's how wide of your strategies and skill sets do you have will dictate how many options you can give to your investors. Or if those are more narrow, then you got to be more wide on how much time you're going to spend on investors. So.
Right. Okay. So let's take one of your most recent assets, and how is it currently being managed?
They're all going to be managed by a third-party property management company. We kind of pick on based on what is the presence of certain REITs. Like I'm using CubeSmart on the East Coast because one, it's in a secondary market, and that name helps carry weight, right? Versus Joe Bob's Storage versus CubeSmart. Which one of those have you heard before, right? So if you're driving along and you go, oh, CubeSmart, oh yeah, let's pull in there. You know what to expect. That's the benefit of a franchise-esque type model, right? You can drive from California to North Carolina, you stop at any McDonald's, you know what the menu's going to look like, right? Same with these franchises. Versus if you go with another company, we like to use Argus. Okay, Argus. Think of it as that they'll run it for you, but it's your name on it. You pick it. You can have a little bit more of a say, but for the most part, they are the subject matter experts in managing self-storage. So you're still relying on their expertise to give you the guidelines where you just go in and get to pick the colors, right? What package do you want, kind of thing. And they handle that day in, day out. Being a property manager is different than being an operator. You must know that, especially when you're looking at the size. If you're doing just something small, I would say under 25,000 square feet, you could, with good software, some good training, you could manage that facility. I think you could. Like I said, with good training, good software, right? You got to have the skill sets, the tool sets, the mindset, right? But when you go bigger, it is important to have someone that really understands that difference of 25,000 under and 50,000 above, and really rocking and rolling that way. So I know my strengths, and I know where I have no experience and no business being behind that counter going, how can I help you today? No, this is not what you want to see when you walk into a store. So I'm like, yeah, I'm better behind the curtain. So I bring someone else in to do that. So that's been our strategy. And I will say this, Guy over at CubeSmart, we had the pleasure of sitting down with him in Vegas. They invited us out to go out to Philly. We're going to have to take our team out there to do a good tour with them. From day one all the way through it, they gave us our pro forma of how they saw the market. We kind of went back and forth on that of where do we think our expenses were going to be? Hey, where did we get this tax? Where did we get this insurance? Where did we see these numbers? And they're very much a part of your team. And if you consider that and work with them, they've been very helpful and very friendly. Argus over there, we've been working with a few of their team members as well, Ben and some of the others over there, and they've been just as friendly, just as understanding. I think certain of them have different markets that they feel confident being more aggressive in. Some that they just don't have the presence in certain markets. But I would have to say they both have their strengths by a long shot, and they're both strong options. Public Storage is starting that third-party management opportunity. Extra Space just bought out Life Storage, now being the number one REIT. You've got other programs out there that we're getting a part of, like Prime Storage. So really do your research and figure out, once again, how do you want to take down your storage and how do you want to manage it? If you're just looking at how to acquire and you're not thinking about how you're going to manage, it's bad. You're going to end up bad, So, and I learned that big time from multifamily. I almost hit 1,000 doors, and then I realized I hate multifamily. I got to get out of this. right? It almost took me 1,000 doors before I realized it. But yeah, you couldn't pay me enough money to get back in multifamily. I'm serious. So storage is it's a lot easier to manage, but knowing the state laws is a big part of that. Your property managers, they do have smaller boutique styles that do that, but I would say if you don't know it, hire that out or consult with someone that does. That would be the best advice I can give you right there. Take the time to make sure you've got someone that you can trust, that understands what your goals are, and that your goals are realistic to a market.
Okay. So, how often do you meet with your property manager?
Well, we're still in the development phase, so we've still been meeting with them. I'd probably say 2 times a month. Whenever we get into the lease up, we'll probably do a weekly meeting until we get stabilized, and then we'll probably tailor that down, and just kind of check that. I would probably say go back to the 1st and 15th kind of style, just to make sure that's going on. During the development phase, it's a lot more of meeting with your GCs, meeting with your development team and your project managers, and making sure you're staying on track. You're staying on your timelines, and you're under budget. But yeah, so I would say the more you have more moving parts,
Mhm.
more closer to that project. Once it's more stabilized, you don't have all these leasing up, and you're just dealing with your average of 5 to 8% of turnover rates. You can manage that. When you see problems, no, and numbers tell you where the problems are, you see delinquencies coming up, you see occupancy going down. Hey, I need to get involved here. So understand your numbers, understand what drives your NOI, your what you can actually pay yourself with,
Mhm.
and see that. When you see that's a start dip, you need to get involved. So, but work
Okay.
that out with them, and I'm very close to that whenever it's the beginning, because at the end of the day, I'm representing my investors, and
Mhm.
I'm there to oversee what's in their best interest. And I structure every one of my deals that I don't get paid until they get paid. So they get paid first. So I want to get them paid so that, hey, I can get paid. So it's a mutual beneficial there. But like I said, if you understand what to look for, then keep a good eye on that. And once you see it kind of going, everything's smooth, then you can kind of back off of that and spend your time focusing on projects that maybe you're in a more of a the lot more moving parts, and your time's better spent there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite similar to multifamily. When you take over an asset, you're meeting with your property management company uh, weekly. And then once it's kind of stabilized, maybe not as frequent. And so, you allow them to work their magic and tweak things if you have to. And you definitely want to stay on top of your property manager. But as long as they're doing a great job, let them continue to do it. And, you meet with them as needed. And so, uh, kind of on that premise, how this actual development that you're working on right now, is it local to you?
No, none of mine
Okay.
are. The closest asset that I have working to me is about a 4-hour drive. So yeah, I'm here in Fort Worth. We got an asset we're working on in San Antonio, an asset we're working on the north side of Houston, an asset we're working on and on the north, a little bit north of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Right.
So,
So go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. How often are you at those assets?
Well, I've got a team that does a lot of that stuff for me. We've got our on-site management. We've got developers, we've got the team. Like I said, there's 6, 7 of us on my team alone, and we've got our developer, and he's got his whole team there too. So we're there probably. I would say we try to get at least a manager, an owner, an operator there probably once a month during that. But that could be multiple of us that during the first kickoff, you'll see 2, 3 of us when we're looking at just doing a due diligence. I had about a 6-man team just walking around looking at dirt. I mean, we're just all standing around looking at dirt, looking around. What is this? What's going on? And then Me and Barry went around and secret shopped every facility within like a 1 mile radius, and then went and toured the big REITs in the area to see how they're looking at. And so we'll spend a lot of time flying out, traveling out, and doing that. But my team's scattered across the country too. I've got my analyst is out in Raleigh, my operations managers in Charleston, South Carolina. I've got my acquisitions managers down in Houston, my project managers out in East Texas, the Barry's out in Colorado. So we're kind of all over the country anyway. And it's like I said, knowing what to expect and knowing when you've done this enough times, you really know when you need to be present.
Yeah.
and what you need to inspect and what expectations you need to set while you're there to, like, hey, look, I always say, inspect what you expect, and then always set that next milestone of what we want to do. Like make sure, this is Russell Brunson's thing. This is how I'm okay with running from a distance, is have a very clear objective. That's your mission statement. A very clear business plan. Get as detailed as you can. That's step one. Step two, make sure every team member, specifically those that are in charge of each, as they say, stay in your lane, who's in charge of each lane, right? This is basically leadership 101. And then delegating to the leader of, okay, you're the GC. Okay, you're the project manager. Okay, you're the finance manager. Okay, and understanding and make sure everyone understands their roles, their responsibilities, the timelines, the tranche, everything. Step three is the hardest for most people. Get the heck out of their way. That's it. And then stepping in periodically to inspect what you expect. And it's a fine line between supervision and micromanagement. You can actually hurt your progress with micromanaging. And that's why it's very important to pick your team, to include your vendors very carefully. Okay. You must make sure. I mean, we've had general contractors come to us and say, I'll give you $400,000 to put into your deal if I can have it. And we still said no, because they didn't have the experience that we needed in that market building that type of asset. So it's very key to build your team, know that they are the subject matter experts and you are hiring them for their expertise. Right. So why are you going to stand there and going, are you doing that right? Are you sure? Like, why didn't we do it this way? So a lot of the time is sitting in the seat that you're meant to be in, and letting those and trusting the decision. And if you're not a good decision maker and you're not a good team builder and you're not that, find someone that is. You might be the guy that's best being the boots on the ground. Be that him. That was where my strength was, is vetting people out, understanding enough about what they were telling me, and finding other peers to go and see, all right, cool. We get 3. I do the rule of 3. If one person's telling it to me, I want to go find 2 other people to see. All right. And then I take the average, right? Because no one person's 100% right.
Exactly.
So if I could give you any golden nugget right there, that would be 100% it. Get a range, average the range, then pick what's going to be the best for you and your business plan. Trust in them. And then your main job as the CEO and the main operator is to coordinate between all the team members. And that's what it is. I mean, in the peak of my Marine Corps career, I was overseeing 735 Marines. I don't know about you, but I can't stand there and tell each and every Marine what to do every day, right? I would get to the last person by midnight, right? I mean, and that was if I gave them a 15-second thing. So you've got to learn how to delegate. You got to trust your chain of command. You got to have appropriate structure on that. And then you got to really kind of follow the decision-making chart that they have there. Well, if it's important and it's time sensitive, you probably should take it. Well, if it's important but not time sensitive, you can delegate that to someone you trust as a management. If it's not important but it's time sensitive, you could possibly delegate that too. If it's not important and not time and sensitive, then you could probably go down a little further down the chain to make sure that gets. So really understanding your strengths, if that's something you're good at. If you're going to be an operator, I would highly encourage you to take some leadership training probably read some books on the Rockefeller way, the JP Morgan way, understand what it is to be in charge. And I say in charge, not the boss. There is a difference. I like to lead by example. Anyone that I'm doing, I like to know, yeah, I can dig that ditch too if I need to. I'm going to be in bed a few days after that though. And you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm always trying to learn from my subject matter experts so that I know how to be a better assistant and how to plan better. So I don't try to get in their way, but I try to understand their way so that I can make a better plan that supports them. And I think that's probably what I do the best for my team.
Okay. Okay. Um, so let's talk about your vendors real quick, because I know you said you have a developer that you partner with. So when you guys go into this market, how are you guys finding your vendors? How are you vetting the vendors that you're going to work with?
Yeah. So he's been in the self-storage real estate world for about 25 plus years. And he's been doing this nationwide for a long time. So a lot of them he's already worked with, most of them before, and kind of gone his and by his own trial and error. But you can just research a lot of that. Who's the engineers for this area? Who's the architects for this area? Who's the steel suppliers? Who are the this? Who are the that? And like I said, really try to find 2 to 3 people to bid that out to, interview them, and see if there's. I mean, when we were considering one of our general contractors, we actually went and toured some of the facilities that he had just finished building. I mean, we wanted to go that far. So, you know, same strategy of trust but verify. You know, of course, you got to know what you're looking for and who can do that. And, you know, I learned a lot on that. I was like, wow, there's like a lot more roles in this that I thought originally, right? Because my background's not in development. My background's not in that construction. So, you know, that was why I was glad I had Barry that understood all the details. But, you know, even on the vendors that I pick, with who's the right insurance to go with, who's the right lender to go with, who's the right attorney to go with, who's the right CPA to pick, I still use that same rule of 3. And I know what I need and I go after them, and I spend time interviewing them, and I ask a few questions. How do you do this? Have you ever had any issues where you missed this deadline? Have you ever, and you just spend the time to really get to see, talking with them, if they are going to be able to fulfill your expectations. It really comes down to the same thing I pick my team members on. I didn't pick, I mean, it takes time to get to truly know someone. And like we were kind of talking prior to this interview, was that hire slow, fire fast. And that's so hard to do, is fire, because I do care about my team and I care about that. But at the end of the day, it's mission accomplishment above all else. And any Marines right there are probably like, hurrah, all that. But it's true. It really is. Apply that to your business plan.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's not about the team. It's not about the vendors. It's not about anyone else individually. It's about the mission. And if your mission is structured and planned appropriately, if it's delivered upon and met and accomplished, it will take care of every one of those secondarily, which is exactly why in the little leadership principles here, it's 6 troop leadership steps are mission accomplishment above all else. Second is troop welfare, right? So that's exactly kind of play that to business. How's that go to business? I won't bore you with all the others. Okay. I'll save everyone on that little hip pocket class. So if your mission is to build this storage, make sure that every decision is being made to that, not what's best for me, what's best for the plan. And that is very hard if you have an ego. So I would tell you, leave your ego at the door, check it, stay humble, and be willing to take bad news good and good news great. But don't let it go to your head.
Yeah.
And be willing to make the calls that you need to make. If you're the guy in charge and that is your plan, that is your project, then you've got to be willing to look at everything level-headed and make the right call of what's best for the project. So,
right. Okay. So by any chance, have you guys run into any unexpected surprises on this current project?
Which yes, yeah. Which day would you like me to talk about? I would say yes. Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Absolutely.
Have a good team that can adapt and overcome. I mean, that's back to the military here. That's exactly what they taught us, right? Have a plan, have a backup plan, have a plan for if everything goes to shit and you still have to get the job done, be ready. That's when having the right team is the most crucial. So, I mean, we have an issue right now where we had a city planner that we started on this project with, working with him, and he was, all right, make sure you have this, make sure you have that. We'd go to our architect, they'd come back, yeah, that rendering looks good, you're good here, is this there? Boom, right? Staying within the code of the city, what they had a few things we had to watch out for. We're good to go. Yeah, move forward. Boom. Got all the other engineering plans, all the crazy sets of engineers that you need to do their part. Guess what? He quit, got fired, moved on, don't know what. He's no longer there. We're working with a new lady at a director. And now all of a sudden, we've been in this project for 6 months. And oh, well, you've got this problem here. That's not right. You're gonna have to change that. Oh, you got to change. I don't like the siding of your building. This is gonna be the biggest building in this area. You're gonna have to. It's like, whoo, like you've reviewed this package for like 2 months now. The first thing on the page is the rendering of the building. How, and you're just now telling us you don't like the siding, but that's an opinion. There's nothing in the in the code that says so. Working with the city is, I would say, probably going to be one of your biggest challenges.
Yeah.
The second to that would probably be logistics, supply chain, making sure that knowing, understanding, oh, there's a 13-month delay on transformers right now in this market in this county. Oh, really? So it's like I got to order that before my project even is really. That's the first thing I got to go order. So I mean, just really getting hit with that, coming back to the team, throwing out ideas, brainstorming, coming up with a plan, and then executing on that plan is really very important. So we have a lot of meetings. I think we have probably 2-3 meetings a week for a project. We'll have like the overall, all the development team, all the engineers, all the the architect team, everyone's on that one. And we just go through, what are your problems? Where are you at? Boom, 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 go around the table. All right, let's make sure we're all on page. Everyone's on the same page. And then, we'll have one with just the general partners, just the managers, and doing all of that. But it's a lot of moving parts. I would say communication is very key in that. Any problem you get hit with, communication is key. Don't sit on a problem. Don't delay on telling your team and your vendors or anyone that you got a problem. There's no point being a hero.
Right.
You're not. I'll tell you this right now. You won't be a hero just because you solve something, that drastic, and especially if you don't get it done. So it's important to communicate, and it's important to work together on, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how often. When you see problems that are just, okay, didn't expect that to go that way, right? I mean, we had a lender pull out a week before closing. What do you do with that, right? So it's like, whoo, okay, cool. Well, why did that? Then first things first, you got to identify the problem. What was why? What was the why? What was that old saying? Ask why. It's like 5, 7, whatever times. Like,
Yeah.
all right, why did they pull out? Well, why did that happen? Well, why does that? All right, and then finally you go, okay, well then that's the first domino that I need to work on, and then backfill it to going, all right, now I can either re-win that lender over, or we replace that lender to go forward. So yeah, you be ready for problems.
Yeah.
And if one problem is all it takes to make you want to quit, I wouldn't even start.
There you go. I understand. Trust and believe me, being a entrepreneur myself, I look at people who have a 9 to 5 and they're comfortable with it. They're happy with the 9 to 5. They come back home, Netflix and everything like that. That's fine. And honestly, I think they have the best life because they're not stressing out about, oh, I gotta find my lender. The insurance prices went up over here. All these things that we as entrepreneurs go through, the struggles and all of that. A lot of people don't have to deal with that. And so I just think about it so many times, honestly, and I'm like, man, like some of my friends, I'm like, man, you got the life. And they don't understand why I'm saying it, but that's just it, man,
Yeah.
yeah. And another thing, that a great point that you mentioned is picking your team. It's very, very crucial, especially when things go awry. And that's the thing. Like, when things go awry, you need to know that this person or that person has the ability to handle it at the lowest level. Get things taken care of. Let's get this project back on track and let's move forward.
Yep. To quote the great Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until you get hit in the mouth, right? So be ready to get hit in the mouth, and you will. Being an entrepreneur, I think, is a lot like being in a fight, and you're getting hit every day. But you got to go, all right, I got a few back. I threw a few myself. But yeah, no, you're right. It's funny on the whole entrepreneurial versus the W-2 world, right? And it's some people do the entrepreneur world to get out of their W-2, and some people just do the W-2 until they retire. I mean, to each their own. To each
Absolutely.
their own. But I think it's kind of like the Matrix. When you take the blue pill or you take the red pill, once you unplug, there's no going back. It's hard. It's so hard. And I don't know. I don't think I could go back to a W-2 though. I love fighting my own fights because I get the full celebrations of my wins,
Mhm.
but I don't mind getting hit. I used to be an MMA fighter, and they would interview you before the fight. So, what's your strategy going in this fight? And I'm going to block punches with my face until I can win. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, it works 65% of the time, every time. They're like, huh? I'm like, is this interview over? So that's pretty much it. Just,
I love that. I
good.
love that.
Yeah,
Gonna block punches with my face. Gotta love it.
it's a
I
good
haven't
distraction.
heard that one.
It's a
That's
good
classic.
distraction. I'm telling you, it works.
So, just a few more questions. You mentioned one of your projects is about 13 million. What was the raise on that?
5.8.
5.8. Okay. And are most of your investors, are they retail investors, or majority of them are real estate professionals that, already know what it's about, what it's like to invest in real estate?
I would say if we're measuring by volume of
Mm.
investment,
Yes.
then they're already in the real estate world one way or another, whether it is just strictly a passive portfolio or they've got a storage or a hospitality or a multifamily already, and they're like wanting to diversify. If we're talking quantity, more of them are your real estate or your retail. They're your CPAs, they're your engineers, they're your doctors, your lawyers, that are just, I'm looking for good investment opportunities. You got good returns, your team's got a good background, boom, here's my money. Right. But if I try to sit there and explain to them, well, my price per square foot and my average lease up rate and they're going to just be like, uh-huh, yeah, what's the returns? That's that, so um, we kind of have all aspects there, but they probably would be the ones that are investing your minimum investments.
Okay.
But when we do have some of those that are got a 1031 every once in a while, that's the good volume there. So I would say quantity, retail, volume wise, the investment, majority of the investment of the raise would be from experienced real estate professionals.
Okay. Great. Um, what have you been doing to nurture that relationship with your investor base?
Transparency, being willing to talk about your failures, surprisingly will win more people over than just getting up there and talking about how awesome you are. Um, being okay, being a person,
Yeah.
being real with them. I used to there for a while, every time I'd ride to the gym, I would just go live and just whatever was on my mind. And a lot of people felt like that was their ability for them to get to know me. I've got a team now that helps me, do a lot of outreach, answer a lot of the questions, but I say educate your way to that partnership.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is that, my job, they're looking at me a lot, but they're also looking at my team to who do I have supporting me. So I
Nice.
try to put some education out there. I think you mentioned you were part of our Facebook group. We were doing lives there before we just got too chaotic, and all these events are going on right now. And so we may pick that back up, but we try to put a lot of posts out on our LinkedIn, a lot of information. We're working on a little book, a little mini book of just questions to ask a sponsor, some explanations of going in more depth of what is a 506B versus what is a 506C, and some of the terminology, how we do certain things. So that's really what I would say is you're winning them over before you even realize they're watching you.
Yeah.
So give them something to look at. I would say if you're looking for investors, give them something to look at, because they're looking for you just as much as you're looking for them.
Nice. Nice. So, how do you give back to the military community?
Yeah, a lot of it is with free education. I don't try to charge them. I mean, you can go watch in that group and some of the old recordings. I've literally walked through step by step by step of my due diligence process, sharing my screen. You can see my pipeline, you can see my systems, my tools, you can see all of that. And I'm very transparent of how to do that. But I've also been willing to get them in on some of my investments. And I truly say that is the best way to learn. You're in the project as a partner. We're going to be giving updates. We're going to be giving newsletters. Those are educational segments of all the steps along the way. But we've also circled back and brought some of those investors over too that have said, I want to be active.
Okay.
So we try to help them, give them that skill set. We are wanting to do some skills bridge programs where maybe that we can even hire them, which is as they're transitioning out, we can bring them on. We've done some internship programs where we're just trying to work with them. I would say as we get more stabilized in what we're doing, we may even launch a program where we'll be looking to have a representative to cover every square inch of the country. So where that would be different than most coaching programs is coaching programs, they don't care how many students. In fact, they want to, if they can sell 1,000 courses a day, they're going to sell 1,000 courses a day with no regards to how much demand they're creating, and the supply is not matching it, and that's big in the syndication world, especially in multifamily. One of the reasons I got out there. And I would be looking at setting up more like a franchise where, all right, hey, where are you from? Oh, you're going back home, you're getting out, or you're already out. You live in Louisville, Kentucky. Cool. You know what? I don't have anyone in that. From Louisville, draw a 3-hour radius around your home. That's your region. This is how I want you to look at deals. This is how I want you to underwrite deals. This is how I want you to put together a submission package. You find a deal, I'll partner with you. You get equity. We come back and support you, get the deal done together. So we're looking at doing a program like that. And I'm working with a very large private equity group that likes that idea. So we'll have about a $12 billion group supporting that endeavor. So with our skill sets of finding the deals, screening the deals, passing that down to where you're a part of that, you get to benefit that. That transition of that umbrella comes to you as well. And that's something we want to try to, and that'll be development, value add, expansion, whatever it may be. So.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah. Hey, I like that idea personally. That'd be super to see that come to fruition. So, Wesley, before you became this very successful person I see in front of me, give our listeners a little bit of your backstory, like where you grew up, how was your upbringing, what what in your past shifted your mindset into becoming the person who you are today.
Well, came from a poor family from East Texas. Went into the Marine Corps straight out of high school. Grew up in the military, grew up in the Marine Corps. I got out, turned down a meritorious promotion because my daughter needed me more. And then she was 2.5 years old. So I got out. Her mom basically just went AWOL, as we say. So I started raising her by myself. It was hard beginnings, I would say. I had no backing. I had nothing there, no education. In fact, when I went back to college, when I got out, I had a job locked in with Amazon. I was going to go be an area manager for Amazon. I was pretty pumped about it. I had like $50,000 in stock as a sign-on bonus, like $35,000 in cash just to show up and just a sign-on bonus. And then I had, a good paying salary, more than anyone in my immediate family had ever made. And then I met a lovely lady who was in real estate. She's the one that actually got me into all of this, but I decided I was going to go all in on me. And that was not acceptable. That was not the norm for our family. I was taught, get a college degree, get a good job with good benefits, work until you can retire. Right?
Yeah.
And when I'm saying, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going all in on me, I'm going to build my own business, I'm going to build my own way, I'm going to figure this out, I got called an idiot. I'll paraphrase, I'll tell that, but that's pretty much what it was. Like, I was called stupid, like, you're just being lazy, you just don't want to go get a job, all the things that I could think of until, and I'm not gonna lie, I failed a lot. Like, when I say the beginning of my career, I was with the company as a capital raiser for a syndication company, and I backed out of that. It was just some stuff that I didn't agree with going on. So I got out of that, went to hospitality in 3 months, no hospitality experience, no nothing. I told the operator, I said, give me 1%, let me sit in the rooms with everybody else. I'll figure out what I need to figure out, and I will make sure you don't regret it. 90 days later, I had over 75 million under contract for this man, a Hilton hotel, a Choice hotel, and an IHG hotel. It was a Staybridge, a Clarion Point, and I can't remember what Hilton we were going to do. But yeah, in 90 days, COVID hit, all went away. Lovely, right? Got picked up to do a fund management, and I just kept scaling forward, failed. Finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this on my own, be my own true boss, and build my own team around my mission. And in less than 13 months, I made myself a millionaire.
Wow.
So wasn't hard. Just kidding. So a lot of my background of wanting to prove that I wasn't what I came from.
Yeah.
Is why, the reason I was smart. At least I think I was. I had, scholarships to go just about anywhere I wanted to. That didn't seem like the path for me. That didn't seem like a challenge for me. That's why I went to the Marine Corps, because I was picked on. I was a little nerd. I was a little chubby, had the glasses, all of that, in a small town in East Texas, and don't play football well. Oh yeah, it's not cool to be smart back in the day. So that's what that's why I chose the Marine Corps, because I was like, if I can do that, then I can have the confidence in myself to do anything. Then, I took that on to, I wanted to own a house before I was 23. I did that. Well, I wanted to then do the MMA fighting. I did that. I wanted to, so I just kept, what's next? And it just, I guess I just stayed hungry. And then when I got out, this was the pinnacle moment of my life that I knew there was something else. I mean, I'd been, W-2 mindset, employer mindset, and I was just like, this is not working for me. I was pretty much, I was still fighting the VA because they said I didn't exist. Yeah. And, so I finally was getting I finally just won that, but it was me and my daughter. I was making like $24,000 a year. I was living in I say a shack, but it was a busted old house. The roof in my bedroom was leaking and caving in, so I had to sleep on the couch. Gave my daughter the bedroom that was not leaking and caving in, but She was, you know, a little cute thing, taking her to school, coming back, and I got pissed. I was like, this is bullshit. I know I can run circles around all these people you see on TV, all the people you just know about that are just making money. What the hell is different from them than me? What are they doing that's different? And it pissed me off to the point where I was like, no, I'm going to figure this out. And I'm not going to sleep until I do. 36 hours later. And I'm talking, took my daughter to school, was going through all day watching. I had the TV on, listening to TED Talks and all of this. What's going on? What is a millionaire? I basically made the mindset of a millionaire my enemy number one. And I was going to study that enemy until I thought like that enemy and I could dictate their next move and call their next move. Because if I could think like that, then I could become that. And that was my thought. That was my goal. And I had notes. I had my laptop. I mean, I was just going crazy. Alarm went off to pick up Elizabeth, my daughter. Went to pick her up, did the dad things, got her, played with her, fed her, all of that. She's in bed. And I'm back on the computers, back on that. Stayed up all night. My alarm went off to get her up, get her ready for school. And I'm a full-time college student at this point. So I was only, taking care of that, working remote and doing that. So it finally just, it was like, it's about your time. Yeah. Time is the greatest commodity amongst all. That is the one thing that sets us all on a level playing field. It doesn't matter if you're born rich, born poor, born brilliant, born with no talent whatsoever. We all have the same amount of time each and every day. What we do with it and how we invest it dictates where our tomorrow lies. Where do we start tomorrow is determined by what we do today. So I started looking at it like, all right, well, now I got to study how to invest my time. Well, how do billionaires invest their time? And I came across Warren Buffett, and he said, I look at two things. I look at what's the return on my time, and I look at how does it affect everyone involved. If I'm getting a return on my time, it's positive, whether that be educational, I'm learning, I'm making money, something, right? I'm benefiting one way or another from not my return on putting my time into this. And then the other one is, if everyone wins, they will want to work with you again. So you're building momentum with each and every win. I was like, wow, okay. And I started doing that. I started investing into this right here. Yeah. Reading the right books. And I got made fun of. I went to go up to my dad's work and, visit him. And I would be, listening to a book or have a book, and they would be making fun of me. And I got used to being made fun of. I grew thick skin, and I knew I wasn't going to let anyone pull my head too far to the right, too far to the left. I was laser focused. I was driving 2 hours all the way to Dallas. I lived 2 hours from Dallas. That was the closest networking event. I was doing that back and forth every day. And I was just, the whole time I was driving, I had some book on there, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Next Door, Extreme Ownership, Can't Hurt Me, Atomic Habits, just to name a few. I mean, I just got really serious about changing my mindset so I could change how I made the decisions of where I spent my time. And it started happening. I started being in the right rooms, and I came across that quote: you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. They're either bringing you down or they're pulling you up. Yep. I'm serious. I have never been pushed down from someone that has been more successful than me. I've only ever been pulled down. People that are too scared of your dream because they can't comprehend it will try to diminish it, will try to talk you out of it, will try to tell you you're too stupid, you're not capable, that is dumb, what the heck are you thinking, why are you doing that, why are you kidding yourself? All of these things I heard from what I thought were my best friends and my family. Yeah. And I was dumb enough not to listen. Right? And if I would have listened to all of that, but don't think that didn't replay in my head every time. I mean, I probably struggle with the imposter syndrome just as much as anyone else. And I realized something. I mean, I'm playing that in my head. You're an idiot. Why are you doing this? You don't know what you're doing. You're not successful. You ain't done crap. There's someone that's been better than you. And that plays over and over and over. I'm out on stages, and this is playing as I'm walking up on a stage. What the heck are you doing up here? What are you doing? You're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? You're nobody. You're nobody. And someone finally helped me with that. He said, you know who doesn't struggle with the imposter syndrome? And I was like, this guy was like, you're talking making $1 million a month kind of level of success.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, who? He goes, imposters. Who doesn't struggle with the imposter syndrome? Imposters. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, so I'm not a bad guy? He goes, no, you're right in line with everyone else I know. So, but
I
you
like
know,
it.
that's really what it is. Learn what your natural skill sets are, whether you think it's a skill set or not. I got told, oh, leadership, that's not a skill set. Can you sell for me? Can you underwrite for me? Can you? So I was like, oh, okay. So I learned more. So learn what you're good at, expand upon and focus on and educate yourself on what you don't know. Don't give up. You can fail and still be successful. That's the most important part. Don't be afraid of failure. Because that's one thing that is always, I've seen a lot of people never start because they're like, well, what if I fail? What if I mess up? Like, you know what? You will. And I heard this story and they did this study, and I can't remember, some Cambridge or some fancy college that I probably couldn't make it in. It said they tasked two groups. One group make the perfect pot. I want you to make the perfect pot, just one perfect pot for the next 30 days. That's all I want you to focus on, one perfect pot. Okay. The other group, I want you to make as many pots as you possibly can for the next 30 days. Which group do you think the perfect pot came from?
The people that tried the most.
Exactly. And that's what they studied. And they realized that with repetition,
Yep.
you create success. With frequency, you create success because each time you're perfecting that skill. You're learning from that last blemish. You're learning from that last mess up. You're learning from that last failure. And if you are willing to learn from your failure, failure can't stop you. So that's really, if anything, I would say would be the biggest thing I would take away. Don't be afraid to fail.
Nice.
Because if you can become more afraid of the regret of never trying, failure is nothing compared to that.
That's it. Great. That's beautiful, man. That's it. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid. Absolutely. Well, Wesley, it has been great to have you as a guest today. And as we close out, please tell our listeners where they can learn more about you, get in touch with you, and learn all about the fabulous things you have going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. You can go to, the easiest way would say go to our website, which is militarypatriotsgroup.com. You can read about the team, some of our mission statements, some things that we're working on. You can also do the same, search for the same thing on LinkedIn. And then we also have a free Facebook group that is Military and Patriots Investment Group. Get on there, watch some of our old videos. Feel free to post questions if you like. And, some of our team members, along with other successful operators, would be able to kind of chime in on that stuff. But I would say those would be a few of the places that you can get a hold of us and kind of check out what we're doing.
Cool. Awesome. So, Wesley, again, I want to thank you for your time today and all the wisdom you have provided to my listeners. It's greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you, our fans, for tuning in to the Syndication Podcast, where we provide value to you and your investing business. Please tune in to our next episode where we will interview another fantastic investing professional. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Service to Syndication Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate your support, and we are grateful about being a part of your journey to becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will get a lot out of what you just heard. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be in all areas of life. And if this was really valuable, share it on your social media stories and timelines. Thank you for watching and listening. Now go be great.